The first semi-final of the 2026 World Cup just ended. France played against Spain, and Spain won, slapped, smacked, stomped France 2-0. I know, maybe you might be like, oh wow, those are a lot of words for 2-0. It's a little bit excessive. No, it's not. If you would have watched the game, you would have seen that it was a complete dominance of Spain over France. And that makes me really sad. That also makes me really upset. Sad and upset. Yeah, that's not a good combo. But maybe for you to understand the reason why I got to that point, maybe you need some backstory. Let me give you some backstory. The first detail to understand is that today is July 14th, which is Bastille Day, which is the national French celebration. You know, the head of the queen, ruling, French being independent. Yeah, no monarchy anymore. Yeah, that's that. On that day, Spain decided to just, you know what, let's just slap them to remind them that they're not that good. That's what they did. So that's one. The context sucks. That's one. Second is because the rivalry between Spain and France is, at least in my memory, can go back as far as 2006. I'm going to say the biggest rivalry that I remember is when Zidane, who was actually leading the French team in the 2006 World Cup, he announced a month or 2 months before that he was about to retire after the tournament. And when they met Spain in the round of 16, guess what the Spanish people dare to say? They literally just went on national TV and they be like, well, we're gonna retire him a little early because we're that good. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's next level of insult. You know, you don't even have to to use bad words. You can just be like very cordial and still, you know, like be very insulting. Oh, we're gonna retire you earlier, my friend. That's what they said. Thankfully, Zidane is one of the greatest players of all time and decided to be like, And what he did, he just smacked them back 3-1. And he scored the last goal, which just to add, you know, insult to injury. You want to talk bad? Okay, we're going to beat you and I'm going to score on you. So that's what he did. So that was that. But this was just the premise of how things were going to go. Because after that, throughout the years, every time France and Spain met, there's also like just some talk here and there. And I want to say some talk is mostly the Spanish that talk smack to the French people. Mm-hmm. And the last two big one, it was when Spain beat France in the semi-final of the European Cup, you know. And after that, this was 2 years ago. And the year before, last year, the France lost again, Spain again. And this time Spain won 5-4. Yeah, it's a high number. And you might think, oh wow, 5-4, the game was back and forth. Well, there was a time that Spain was just leading 5-1. So that just gives you a little bit more context in it. So it means that basically Spain have the French numbers. They kind of have them. It doesn't matter what French does. Spain is like, no, we got you. And that's exactly what happened because 2 days before the semi-final of that World Cup game started, Lamine Yamal started to talk smack again. He was like, "Yeah, no, I'm not afraid. No one in Spain are afraid of the French team. They are afraid of us because we smacked them for the last 2 times that we met them." Yeah, I mean, he said that without the word smack, obviously, but he did emphasize that we kicked their asses already twice. So why do you think we should? And people are like, well, don't you think that because they have like a super team with Mbappe, Dembele, Olise, Doué? And Lamine Yamal was like, we don't worry about that. We're gonna still kick their asses. And people were just laughing. They're like, "You crazy? If you've seen what they've been doing to the other team," and they're like, and Lamine Yamal was like, "Well, we are the European champions." They're like, "Yeah, but that's not the same team, though." Yeah, but they can switch team 15 times. We still are the European champion, meaning that we are still the defending champion of Europe. So it doesn't matter how many times they switch and they have new players or old players. As long as they don't beat us, we are their boss. And oh goodness, he was right. And after to add more tension, you have the former prime minister of Spain. When they asked him, okay, what do you think about the French team? He said, well, the French team is excellent. It's a fantastic team. Too bad that there are no French player in it. You know what he's talking about, right? It's because the French team is, I don't know, 70% black. So he wanted to emphasize that to be French is to not be black, basically, right? And yeah, and for most people, those are racist statements for most people. So, yeah, I don't know what to say about that, which is interesting, by the way. The reason why it's interesting is because in the team in Spain, the one defensive player, his name is Laporte, or I can phrase it Laporte. Yeah, it is French, so it means the guy is not from Spain. Or hold on, you have another one that is Lamine Yamal. Yamal is not Spanish either. It's Arabic. Yeah, Lamine Yamal is from Morocco. He's not Spanish either, right? Hold on, I have a third one. You have Nico Williams. Williams sounds very British, right? Well, he's from Ghana. So you have a former prime minister who knows that he has some members of his team that are not Spanish, the way that he would probably define it, and still talk smack about another team. You know. So that added more and more tension. And after that, Lamine Yamal today, 2 hours before the game, he posted 2 pictures. First picture, it was him last year when they won against France, like when they were winning 5-1. He didn't put 5-4 because 5-4 would have looked like the game was pretty tight. He put a picture of him when he was celebrating, like, yay! Scored the 5th goal against France, 5-1. That tells you that, yeah, the guy is okay to smack anyone that is French related. Yeah. And the second picture, he had a cowboy hat, and he was like, yeah, he's going to take over Dallas, which was what the game was happening, meaning that he was going to take over the French. Well, he eventually did. So I guess on that one, I'm not going to say anything. But yeah, so this is the atmosphere that the game, at least for me, it was on my back. I was like, oh my gosh, yeah, that game's going to be crazy. They better win. And no, they did not. And that's the reason why I am upset and sad. Okay, let's start with sad. Sad is because I feel that I've been catfished. I'm pretty sure that some of you have been talking online with a girl or a guy, if you're a woman that's watching my video, welcome, yeah. And suddenly, you see the picture like, wow, she/he for the woman, hot, yeah, nice. And they talk and you're like, oh wow, great personality, fantastic, I like it, polite, smart, intelligent, funny, that's great. And you set up the date. And you just like this, just all happy, the date is coming, and you're just all hyped up and everything. And suddenly, the person that you saw on pictures is not quite the same that the person that is appearing in front of you. However you want to put it. Too short, too tall, too, doesn't matter. Right? And the problem with that, it is not that the person is necessarily a bad person. It is not that the person suddenly is not smart, funny, interesting, and kind. It's not about that. It is just that the picture that you have in your mind just collapsed. And that's what happened to me. I have been catfished by the French team because I was one of the first person to claim, and I'm going to take that, I'm taking full responsibility on that, to claim that French team reminds me of the 2002 Brazil, with Ronaldo, Ronaldinho, Rivaldo, Roberto Carlos, Cafu, and Kaká, and blah, 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 blah. And I also said, because, I'm kind of a masochist in some capacity, so I doubled down and I said, it also reminds me of the 1962 Brazil, with that fantastic offensive, side, with Vava, Garincha, and Pele. Yeah, I doubled down on it. I don't do things, I don't half-ass my stuff. I do full, And because of that, I was like, yes. And when I hear people start saying like, oh, they remind me of 2002 Brazil, I'm like, yes, I'm a great analyst because I can just foresee things. I can, Well, they're not. The reason why they're not, it's simple. is because the 1962 Brazil and the 2002 Brazil, they won the World Cup. And that is all you need to know, because I'm very result oriented, which means that if I said you look like that and you don't perform as I think that you look like, you don't look like them either. So that French team, despite the extraordinary individual performance of their players, they're not top 3 of greatest offense ever. I'm sad to be wrong on that, but I'm much more sad because I feel that I've been catfished. And that's the problem. So now I feel really sad like that. Now the reason why I'm upset is because I cannot even blame it on anybody. You know when you're angry but you have nothing to aiming at? That's how I feel right now. Because I'm like, okay, let's think about the referee. Yes, let's think about the referee. He might have done something wrong. No, he has not. The referee was without any blame. Can I blame a player? Yes, I'm going to blame Digne. You know, the defensive player that just gave away the penalty. Yeah, I should blame him. When you understand a little bit about what the position he was, the ball that was given to him, you cannot really blame him. You couldn't really blame him, really. After that, if you really want to blame him, now you're being very, very, like, picky. Yes, you should have done. Yeah, but that's not the way things work. So I cannot really blame him on that either. Should I blame Mbappe, Dembele, Doué because they didn't score? Maybe I should also blame Olise because he didn't distribute the ball. No. Why not? Because they did not have the ball. You cannot score a goal without a ball. You cannot distribute the ball without the ball. And that's the whole thing. And that's now we get into the core of the analysis of the game. It's because we knew since the beginning that Spain was going to play with ball possession. And France was going to play mostly with transition, or as they say, with counters. Unfortunately, no counters could happen because the ball possession was that strong. Spain got the ball and just kept it. They were selfish. They just kept it. So much so that I was like, oh my goodness, okay, that's crazy. But that just shows you how good they are. And that's the tiki-taka just displayed right in front of you. It is about ball possession. You keep the ball for yourself. You pass it very quickly around so you can tire, and confuse your opponent. And when the opponent is confused and tired, start making mistake, bam, you slap him, meaning you punish him and you score. And that's exactly what happened. That is exactly what happened. So, and that is just incredible. That just shows you that Spanish team is just incredible as a team. Because individually, if you compare Mbappe to Oyarzabal, Mbappe just smacked him. If you compare like any other player to any other one, most of the French team just smacked them individually as a team. Spain just like show you that no, France is here, Spain is right there. We're talking about a different level. We're talking about that kid is 16 and the other one is like 25. We're talking about like it's a different world, different species. That was that obvious. That was that big. And one of the other thing with the French, the Spanish was also the touch. The way that they touched the ball is just incredible. They didn't just distribute the ball really well and kept the ball possession. They literally just, I was staring at them for like 5 minutes. Every player that received the ball, they just do 2 touches. 1 touch to control the ball. 2nd touch, they pass it. It was going like pop, 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 pop. It was like literally like a symphony. Like wow, pop, 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 pop. It was smooth, crisp. The French player, they got the ball, they control it, they pass it. Like 3, 4, 5 touches before doing anything. So you have one side, you have pop, pop. The other one, you have pop, 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 pop. And that's the funny thing. It's because like the analogy I have is literally like one was Beethoven 9th, with the perfect harmony and everything, the voices that intervene perfectly, and the tempo, the cadence, and the other one was the Rite of Spring by Stravinsky. I love that piece, by the way. But if you know history, you know that piece I've created like, nothing too bad. Nothing too bad. Just a riot, okay? Just a little riot in Paris. But that's for the musical people that would like to have some more blending, some knowledge from other field. I give you a little bit of classical music right there. But yeah, that's why it felt. That's how it felt. And that's just crazy. Another piece that was insane with Spain is because the goalkeeper, if you know, the guy spent almost like 1/3 of his time outside of his goalpost. It could have been deadly for him. But because he managed it so well, every time he did it, it was to cut off Mbappe. Why? Because he realized, like, hold on, they keep giving like deep passes and Mbappe runs and catch the ball to just score. What if when they do a deep pass, I can just come and cut Mbappe off so he doesn't get the ball first? That's just what he did. So it means that he took the risk to leave his goalpost behind him. But it was the best one. Because the 2 or 3 times that the French could have a real opportunity, the goalkeeper just came and just cut it off. He just stopped it right there. Right there. It's like a kid that's about like, like, oh, yeah. It remains silent. Yeah, you just stop it right there. Doesn't have time to scream, doesn't have time to cry, doesn't have time to, you just, and that's exactly what he did. And I was like, oh my gosh, okay. Well, I was like, we're in trouble. At this point, I was like, we're really in trouble. That's that. So, and now let's talk a little bit about the French side, because there's a lot of complaining about the French side too, which is I have no complaint about against Digne, the defensive player that gave away the penalty. The problem was that on his side he was against Yamal. I did not like that matchup. Digne against Yamal, I did not like it at all. Yamal is taller. Yamal is stronger. Yamal is faster. Yamal is more skilled. I'm like, I don't like it. I don't like it. And no surprise, that's where the penalty occurred. And once again, as I said, it was not really Dean's fault. He received the ball way too high. He's not that tall of a guy, so he tried to control it with his head, and after to just kick it away. But by the time he controlled it with his head, Yamal saw it and he ran. And because Dean was just have to spin and just to kick the ball, the one that kicks the ball will always create the foul if the other player is in front of it. Even if the one kicking the ball doesn't see, it's like, I didn't see him coming, and yeah, but too bad for you. It's considered like physical offense. So it means that. So he just got the ball, he just turned and he was about to kick it. Yamal just saw it, he ran. He was all happy with the big face, like, and he just put his body. So when you kick the ball, you hit him at the same time, penalty. And that is undeniable. There's no doubt about that. There's no complaint about that. There is no way to just retort about that. That's penalty right off. 100% correct. That's that. Saliba had to leave, as you probably know. Saliba was like that in defense, and he just sat down in the middle of the field with the ball, and people were like, what's going on? He complained he needed to just be substituted. The reason was because Saliba has a back pain. He's been having back pain for a while. Actually, every time before the game, he received like shots. Yeah, that's that bad. And unfortunately, Saliba, he was a little bit like Umtiti in 2018, meaning that Umtiti had knees issue. And what happened to Umtiti is like after he did that World Cup in 2018 and they won, a few months later, the guy was out. Out like his career out because his knee was just aggravated and he had to leave. Saliba, he decided to make the same option. He's like, my back hurts. I need shots. I want a World Cup and I'm out. Unfortunately, he's out, but he doesn't have a World Cup. Sorry about that. So that's a sacrifice that some players are doing. They're like, okay, I know that by playing, I'm just going to aggravate the pain and my situation. I will be out sooner than later in my career, but I want to at least have the greatest accomplishment, which is the World Cup. And he was out. So yeah, I have nothing much to add really. Yamal was right. Spain has French number, and but I think Spain has shown that team harmony is better than individual prowess. Yes, after all, football is a team sport. In team sport, there is sport, but there's also team. I'm sad. Congratulations to Spain. Yeah. Peace, guys.